Hello and welcome to Sense Business YouTube channel. Today we will be covering 6.1 Government Economic Policies and Objectives. Thank you very much for viewing this video. Please stay with me and I will make sure that you get the highest possible grade in your IGCSE exam. Okay, so today's lesson's outcome is that we will understand business cycle, we will understand its main stages, and then we will understand how government controls our economy and how it affects the business activities and how the businesses may respond to these controls. Okay, so we will now understand what a business cycle is. So the business cycle is the natural rise and fall of economic growth that occurs over time. So the cycle is a useful tool for analyzing the economy. It can also help you make better financial decisions. So the government manages the business cycle. Legislators use fiscal policy to influence the economy. They use expansionary fiscal policy when they want to end a recession. We'll talk about recession in a minute. This is one stage of business cycle. There you are, it is here. Okay, so the main stages of business cycle are growth, boom, recession, slump, and recovery. This is a business cycle graph. Each point represents different stage of economic sorry, it represents different stages of business cycle. Okay, and now we're going to cover each of these individually to understand what they mean. So growth, in the growth phase, there is an increase in various economic factors such as production, employment, output, wages, profits, demand, and supply of product and sales. So this is where the growth is, just as business starts to go up or the economy starts to go up. So in addition, the growth pace, the price of factor of production and output increases simultaneously. In this phase, debtors are generally in good financial condition to repay their debts. So therefore, creditors lend money at higher interest rates. This leads to an increase in the flow of money. Okay, so the next stage is the boom. This is the very top stage of a business cycle. So this phase is known as peak phase. Here, the increase in growth rate of the business cycle achieves its maximum limit. The economic factors such as production, profit, sales, and employment are higher but do not increase any further. So this is the highest possible point a business cycle or the economy can be. There's a gradual increase in the demand of various products due to increase in the prices of output. So the increase in the prices of input leads to an increase in the prices of final products. While the income of individuals remains constant, this also leads consumers to restructure their monthly budget. As a result, the demand for products such as jewelry, home, automobiles, and refrigerators start to fall. Okay, so the next stage that we're going to talk about is recession. When the decline, so recession is this point here, when from boom we're going down to recession. So when the decline in the demand of product becomes rapid and steady, the recession phase takes place. So in recession, all the economic factors such as production, price, saving, and investment starts decreasing. So generally, producers are unaware of decrease in the demand of products and they continue to produce goods and services. In such a case, the supply of products exceeds the demand. So over the time, producers realize the surplus of Supply when the cost of manufacturing of a product is more than profit generated. So this is the recession stage. As you have guessed it, now we are going to talk about the slump. So this is where the stage is. This is like the lowest. So boom is the highest, slump is like the lowest and the worst point an economy can be in. Also known as thaw is where the economic activities of a country decline below the normal level. So the growth rate of an economy becomes negative. There's a rapid decline in national income and expenditure. It becomes difficult for debtors to pay off their debts. As a result, the rate of interest increases. Therefore, banks do not prefer to lend money in slump. They try to keep their money to themselves. The level of economic output of a country becomes low and unemployment becomes high. Investors do not invest in stock markets. At this point, an economy reaches to the lowest level of shrinking. So this is the worst position any economy can be in. So now recovery. The recovery is the end of negativism and beginning of positivism. So recovery is when economy starts to go up back to like normal stages. So individuals and organizations start developing a positive attitude towards the various economic factors such as investment, employment, and production. At this stage, wages provided by organizations to individuals is less as compared to their skills and abilities. Consumers increase their rate of consumption as they assume that there would be no further reduction in the prices of products. As a result, the demand for consumer product increases. Great stuff. So that was the different stages of business cycle, and we also understood what a business cycle is. So now let's cover impact on businesses of changes in employment levels, inflation, and gross domestic product, GDP. But before I cover this, I want you to go and check out www.sensebusiness.co.uk at the end of this video. This website is full of useful topics on business. You will love it. There are so many helpful articles that you will business becomes so easy for you. As the website, the name says sense business. I literally make sense of business in this website. Okay, that's enough about this website. Let's get back to the lesson. So inflation. Inflation is the increase in average prices of goods and services over time. So maintaining a low inflation will help the economy to develop and grow better. So that's what inflation is. So a low inflation is better. So high inflation results in cost of living will have risen and people's income stay the same, resulting in buying lesser goods and services. So the purchasing power will fall. So that's because of the high inflation. So prices of domestic goods will rise. As opposed to foreign goods in the market, the country's exports will become less competitive in the international market. So domestic workers may lose their jobs if their products and firms don't do well. So when prices rise, demand will fall and cost of production will rise, causing profits to fall. Businesses will be unwilling to expand and produce more in the future. So the living standards, quality of life in the country may fall when cost of living is high. So this is all because of high inflation. So this is why it's important to maintain a low inflation. Okay, so what is low employment? Unemployment exists when people who are willing and able to work cannot find a job. That's what unemployment means. And high So the lower your unemployment is, the better it is for the economy. So now what happens if there is high unemployment? So high unemployment will result in unemployed people do not produce anything, and so the total output GDP in the country will fall. This will in turn lead to fall in economic growth. So the economy will not grow if the employment level is really high in a country. And unemployed people receive no income. This results in inequality rise in the economy, and living standards will fall, because if you don't have money, you're not gonna live the best life. So the living standards will fall. It also means that the businesses will face low demand due to low incomes. So if nobody has any money, nobody's earning any money, it is very likely that they will not go buy anything. So the demand will fall in for the products and businesses. So the government pays out unemployment benefits to the unemployed, and this will rise during high unemployment, and government will not have enough money left over to spend on other services like education and health. So if the employment is really high in a country, for example the UK, and here in the UK we have a benefit system where if somebody cannot find a job or is unemployed, you'll get an allowance each week, let's say £60. And if everybody's out of job, the government will have to pay that £60 to everybody so they can afford living, and that results in there's not money left for education and health, transport, and so on. So that is the problem of high unemployment. So economic growth occurs when a country's gross domestic product GDP increases. So you need to remember that. So economic growth occurs when a country's gross domestic product GDP increases. For example, more goods and services are produced than in the previous year. This will increase countries' incomes and achieve greater living standards. So now, can how the government can influence the economic conditions in a country? So they can do this by two things: fiscal policy and monitoring policy. So fiscal policy is using taxes and government spending to influence demand condition in the country, and monetary policy is using interest rates as well as money supply and exchange rate to influence the demand condition in the economy. So fiscal policies are government spending. So government can change their spending on education, health, defense, law, transport, and communications infrastructure to influence demand. So higher spending on these services can boost demand in the economy as jobs and GDP increases. Reducing government spending will reduce demand. So you need to remember that. When income tax rises, there is little disposable income to spend on goods and services. Firms will face lower demand and sales will cut production, so increasing unemployment. Lower, lower income taxes will encourage more spending and thus higher production. So these are your official policies that the government can bring in place and has effect on the businesses and on the economy. So corporation tax is paid on companies' profit. When the corporation tax rate is increased, businesses will have lower profit left over to put back into the business and will find it hard to expand and produce more. It will also cause shareholders and owners to receive lower dividends returns for their investment. This will encourage people from investing in businesses, and economic growth could slow down. Reducing corporation tax will encourage more production and investment. So do you see what a government can do? So if they increase it, then it has an effect on businesses, and if they decrease it, it also has an effect on the businesses. So how does government spending affect businesses? The level of government spending has many direct and indirect effects on all businesses. So increased government spending may mean higher taxes because the government get their money from the taxes. So if they are spending loads and loads of money, they have to get that money from somewhere, and the only way they can get it is taxes. So increased government spending may mean higher taxes. So higher taxes will reduce the ability of customers to produce goods, to purchase goods and services, which is likely to reduce customer spending. This will result in businesses not making any sales or making profit because no one has money to buy the products due to higher taxes. When business is not making profit, it is likely they will go bankrupt. This is bad for the economy. So do you see how the government spending affects businesses? So now let's cover monetary policy. So higher interest rates. So if government introduces higher interest rates, so this discourages borrowing as people will have to pay more interest on to the bank. So people will stop borrowing money from the banks. So encourage saving. People will get more interest from savings when interest rates are high. So everybody that has money will try and save as much money as they can to get better interests on their savings. So investing and spending will fall respectfully. Only lower interest rate will increase demand. So you need to remember that. For businesses, a higher interest rate means more interest has to be paid on existing loans. This reduces profit for them, meaning cutting on staff and finding other ways to fulfill this extra money that they have to pay to the banks on the loans that they have. So businesses might have to delay expansion plans that involve borrowing from the bank. So a lower interest rate will be more favorable to a business. So what effects does monetary policy has on businesses? So when interest rates rise, consumer with debts are going to have to pay more interest to the lender. This typically has a negative effect on their spending habits because the more money they have to pay to keep their loans current, uh, the less disposable income they will have to spend on products and services. Now, here's a thought for you. Interest rates can help your company or hold it back, so you need to remember that. Because interest is not always bad, it sometimes can be good as well, and it can tell you about the economy if you understand what it means. So interest rate can help can help your company or hold it back. So once you understand the context for running your business, you can adjust to interest rate moves to protect yourself from negative effects and take advantage of positive ones. Interest rates can be a signal to either expand your business or pull out. So it's kind of an indication for you as well. So it's not always a bad thing, the interest rates. Okay, this brings us to the end of this lesson. Very well done for staying with me, and you will definitely get that A star you deserve. But before you go, I want you to answer these 6 questions. Please answer these 6 questions because it would be absolutely pointless watching this video if you do not know answers to these questions. So I want you to tell me what a business cycle is. List 2 stages of business cycle. Recession is the base stage of economy. Is it true or false? What happens when the level of unemployment is high in a country? How can government influence the economic conditions? And what impact change in interest rate has on businesses? Please make sure that you comment these down below and I will personally mark them for you and let you know if you have answered them correctly. To get that A star, you need to answer these questions and you need to remember what we learned today. Also, I'm giving away an iPhone, so make sure that you watch the last 3-4 videos to to see how you can enter to that prize. And see you on the next video. Please make sure you comment this, and thank you for watching this video. Please make sure that you share, subscribe, and like this video. Take care for now.